Hey everyone, we all reach a point where we see that some of our habits aren't just slowing us down, they're trapping us. We all have habits we're not proud of, things we do again and again, even when we know they're bad for us. Maybe it's putting things off, thinking negatively, avoiding chores, or eating poorly. Whatever it is, these habits control our lives more than we realize. The first step to changing them is knowing that you have the power to change. Getting rid of a bad habit starts with simply saying, yes, this habit exists. It sounds easy, but it's often the toughest part. A lot of us don't even notice our bad habits because they're so deeply set in our daily life that we do them without thinking. This is where really knowing yourself comes in handy. You can't change something you don't know about, or if you refuse to believe it's causing problems. Bad habits can become a big part of who you are. But the first step to breaking them is seeing that you can change them and that the habit doesn't actually define you. When you admit a bad habit, you take away its power. You're no longer its victim. You get to choose if it stays in your life. This needs you to be honest with yourself. It means looking at yourself and being truthful about what's holding you back. Whether it's an addiction, bad eating, negative thoughts, or putting things off, admitting the habit lets you take back control. It's not about shame, it's about seeing things clearly. Without that clear view, the habit just keeps running on its own. A big part of seeing a bad habit is understanding how it affects your life. You need to ask yourself, how is this habit hurting my health, my relationships, my work, or my happiness? Sometimes we don't see how much our bad habits limit us until we really think about the damage they cause. Maybe your habit is stealing your time, stopping you from reaching goals, or causing you pain. When you see the harm, you'll find the push to change. Admitting the habit isn't just saying it's there, it's understanding it doesn't help you. Once you get that, changing becomes your choice, not something you feel forced to do. Another key part of dealing with bad habits is finding out what triggers them. Habits often start because of outside things, stress, boredom, or feelings. For example, if you know why you have a habit, you can start to break it down and fix the real problem. This understanding helps you make smart choices to stop the cycle. If you tend to overeat when stressed, you can learn to spot the stress and do something healthy instead, like a walk or deep breathing. By seeing what sets off your bad habit, you get the power to choose a different way. Why is admitting a habit so important? Because it's the very first step to changing. Without it, you just keep going on autopilot. When you choose to see the habit, you open the door to growing. You no longer let the habit rule you. You take control and choose what you do. This feels powerful. But it's not always easy. We often avoid admitting bad habits because we don't want to deal with the tough parts of changing. We fear failing, being let down, or even losing a part of ourselves we've known for a long time. But remember, bad habits don't define you. They are just patterns that built up over time, and patterns can be changed. With the right mindset, tools, and support, you can turn these habits into a distant memory. It all starts with deciding to face them head-on. Admitting them is an act of self-love, because it's the first step to becoming your best self. Understanding where your bad habits come from is super important to breaking free. Habits, especially the bad ones, don't just pop up. They grow over time because of certain reasons. By looking at the root of your habits, you can start to see patterns you didn't notice before. These patterns often link back to your surroundings, how you grew up, and how you feel. Bad habits aren't always about you as a person. Sometimes they're just things you learned and kept doing because of repeated actions or unhealthy ways of dealing with things. Your surroundings play a big part in the habits you form. You might not know it, but the people you're around and the places you go constantly influence you. For example, if your friends eat unhealthy food a lot or always put things off, you're more likely to do the same. Our friends often affect what we do without us even knowing. That's why it's so important to notice who you spend time with. Are they helping you grow, or are they encouraging the habits that keep you stuck? Changing your surroundings might be key to breaking old habits. This could mean stepping away from negative people or finding a group that lifts you up and supports good changes. How you were raised also deeply shapes your habits. Your childhood, the values you were taught, and what your family showed you all add up to your habits. If you grew up where certain behaviors were normal, you might not even see they're harmful until much later. For instance, if you learned to eat when stressed, or if showing feelings was met with criticism, you might have picked up bad ways to cope. Knowing how your past shaped your habits lets you stop the cycle and create healthier ones. It's not about blaming your past, it's about seeing how the past affects now and choosing to control your future. Strong feelings also cause habits. Many bad habits are just ways you've learned to deal with stress, worry, or loneliness. For example, if you always overthink or talk down to yourself, it might be from old hurts or unsolved emotional pain. Similarly, putting things off often comes from a fear of failure or wanting everything to be perfect. When you face a task, instead of doing it, you might avoid it because of a hidden fear or anxiety. These emotional triggers can be very strong, and understanding them is key to breaking bad habits. The goal isn't to ignore your feelings, but to handle them in a healthier way. By learning new ways to manage emotions, like being mindful, writing in a journal, or talking to a trusted friend, you can start to swap your old coping methods for better ones. Another reason for habits is the comfort of routine. Habits often form because we like things to be comfortable and familiar. When life feels confusing or too much, our routines become a safe place. That's why breaking bad habits can feel so uncomfortable. Change messes with your routines, and newness can make you scared or resistant. But to grow, you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone. Realizing your habits are a way to deal with discomfort helps you understand that breaking them will also be a bit uncomfortable. But remember, this discomfort is temporary. As you replace bad habits with good ones, the discomfort will fade, and your new routines will start to feel normal. Lastly, bad habits often happen because some needs or desires aren't being met. For example, if you constantly scroll on your phone or binge-watch TV, it could be a way to escape boredom, unhappiness, or stress. By seeing the unmet needs behind these habits, you can start to fix the real problem, not just the symptoms. What are you looking for when you do these habits? Is it to relax, connect, or feel important? Once you find that hidden need, you can start to find healthier ways to meet it. This is how you break the cycle of bad habits and replace them with habits that truly help you thrive. Understanding where your habits come from isn't about blaming yourself or others. It's about taking charge of your actions and knowing that change is possible. When you understand the root causes, you can fix them directly, which gives you a clearer path to breaking free from bad habits. Breaking bad habits needs not only help from others but also a shift inside us, how we see ourselves and how we handle mistakes. One of the most important parts of this journey is to be kind and understanding with yourself. Too often, we criticize ourselves harshly when we mess up, thinking one mistake means we've totally failed. But being kind to yourself isn't about letting yourself off easy. It's about knowing that change is hard and that mistakes are just part of the process. This way of thinking is vital for really succeeding in breaking bad habits. When we try to break a bad habit, it's easy to get upset when we fall back into old ways. Maybe you were doing great for days or weeks, and then one tough day you go back to the habit you were trying to stop. In that moment, it's normal to feel let down or doubt yourself. You might think, "I'll never change," or "I ruined everything." This is where self-compassion comes in. Instead of yelling at yourself, remember that breaking habits isn't a straight path. It's full of ups and downs, and mistakes are a normal part of it. These moments are chances to learn, not to judge yourself. Instead of saying, "I failed," try asking, "What can I learn from this?" Understanding that mistakes are a natural part of growing lets you be gentle with yourself and keep going without dwelling on past errors. Besides being kind about mistakes, self-compassion also means noticing your efforts and progress, no matter how small. Many people are quick to see when they fail, but they forget to celebrate when they win. When breaking a bad habit, progress might come in tiny steps that feel unimportant. But these small wins are worth noticing because they prove you're on the right track. Whether it's choosing a healthier meal, stopping yourself from putting things off, or being patient in a stressful moment, these little things matter. They show you're changing, and they deserve recognition. Taking time to celebrate your successes, even small ones, makes the good behavior stronger and encourages you to keep going. Another important part of self-compassion is learning to handle your feelings through the process. Breaking bad habits is an emotional ride. There will be times you feel upset, overwhelmed, or discouraged. During these times, it's easy to give in to bad feelings and go back to old, comfortable habits. Instead of punishing yourself for feeling this way, accept your feelings without judging them. Understand that feelings are a natural part of the process and it's okay to have them. What matters is how you react. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd give a close friend going through a hard time. Instead of hiding your feelings or feeling guilty for having them, let yourself feel them fully, then refocus on your goals. This change in thinking makes it easier to handle the ups and downs of breaking a bad habit without feeling defeated. It's also important to know that breaking bad habits doesn't mean you're not worthy of love or success. Often, people hold on to their bad habits because they feel they don't deserve better things. They might tell themselves they don't deserve happiness or health, or that they can't make lasting changes. This mindset can trap you in a cycle of hurting yourself. The truth is, everyone deserves a chance to grow and change. Self-compassion means accepting that you are worthy of success and happiness, no matter your past actions. By accepting that you deserve to get better, you allow yourself to go after the changes you want without guilt or shame. Being kind to yourself also means being real about what you expect. Change happens slowly, and expecting instant results can lead to disappointment. It's easy to get discouraged if you don't see quick progress, or if the road to breaking a bad habit feels longer than you thought. Self-compassion means understanding that change doesn't happen overnight and that there will be bumps along the way. Instead of focusing on the final result, focus on the journey itself. Notice the small steps you take each day and give yourself credit for those efforts. By having real expectations, you give yourself room to grow at your own pace without too much pressure. Finally, self-compassion encourages you to be patient with yourself. Breaking bad habits can be tough, and there will be times you feel like giving up. It's in these moments that patience with yourself is key. Know that personal growth takes time, and just because you haven't reached your goal yet doesn't mean you won't. Trust the process and understand that setbacks don't define your progress. They are just a temporary part of the path to becoming new. With time, your new habits will become easy. But this will only happen if you're patient and kind to yourself along the way. The journey of breaking bad habits is long and often hard. But by being kind to yourself, you can make the process easier and more manageable. Instead of letting setbacks define your journey, use them as steps toward your goal. Celebrate your progress. Embrace your feelings, and remind yourself that you are worthy of change. The kindness and patience you show yourself will be the basis for lasting change. Celebrating your wins, no matter how small, is a key part of breaking bad habits and building good ones. It's easy to ignore the progress you've made because it seems tiny compared to the big goal. But noticing and celebrating these small steps is not just important, it's vital to keep you motivated and make the changes you want stick. Every time you celebrate a win, big or small, you create a positive cycle that pushes you to keep growing. When you're trying to break a bad habit, the road can often feel long and tiring. The big goal of completely changing your behavior might seem far away or impossible. In these times, it's very tempting to give up. But celebrating small victories along the way helps you focus on the progress you have made, instead of how far you still have to go. For example, if you were trying to stop putting things off and you finish a task early, that's a win worth celebrating. It might feel small, but it shows a shift in your habits and thinking. It's easy to dismiss these small moments, but they prove you can change. Celebrating your wins also helps you look at the positive outcome, not just the challenges. Often, we get so caught up in the hard parts of changing habits that we forget to see our progress. Breaking bad habits isn't a straight line. There will be times it feels like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's important to know that setbacks are normal and don't take away from the progress you've made. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, celebrate your successes. This positive boost keeps you motivated and reminds you that change is possible, even when it's hard. Another reason celebrating small wins is important is that it builds confidence. When you make progress, no matter how little, you strengthen the belief that you can reach your goals. Confidence often grows from small successes. By celebrating these moments, you trust more in your ability to keep breaking your bad habit. As you get more small wins, you start to see that change is not only possible but also you are in control of it. This feeling of power pushes you forward and makes it easier to face future challenges. Celebrating wins also lets you practice self-compassion. Many people are quick to criticize themselves when they fail, but rarely do they recognize their successes. Being kind to yourself means noticing your achievements, no matter how small, and giving yourself credit for the effort you've put in. Instead of only thinking about what you haven't achieved yet, take a moment to appreciate the progress you have made. This helps you stay positive and stops you from getting stuck in feelings of failure or frustration. When you celebrate your successes, you teach yourself to value the journey, not just the finish line. It's important to remember that these celebrations don't have to be big events. Recognizing your progress can be as simple as patting yourself on the back, taking a moment to think about how far you've come, or even giving yourself a small treat that makes you happy. These celebrations are about knowing that you are actively working to become a better version of yourself, and that's something to honor. By taking time to celebrate, you remind yourself that you're doing the hard work, and that effort deserves recognition. Celebrating small wins also helps you feel grateful. It's easy to take progress for granted, but when you stop to notice your successes, you feel thankful for your efforts and the changes you're making. Gratitude helps make good behavior stronger and makes you more likely to keep doing things that help you break bad habits. When you focus on what you have done, instead of what you haven't yet, you create a mindset that helps you grow. Also, celebrating small wins helps build momentum. When you see your progress, you feel a sense of achievement that pushes you to keep going. Each small success builds on the last, creating a bigger and bigger positive change. By celebrating often, you keep the momentum alive and stay motivated for the next step. As you keep getting small wins, the big goal of breaking your bad habit becomes more achievable, and you feel proud of how far you've come. Making celebration a part of your journey to break bad habits is essential. It helps you stay focused on the good parts of change, strengthens your belief in yourself, and encourages you to be grateful and kind to yourself. Celebrating small wins reminds you that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that every step forward, no matter how tiny, is an achievement. These celebrations aren't just rewards. They are powerful tools that help you keep the drive and mindset needed to keep breaking bad habits and building a better future. Being consistent is the main thing when it comes to breaking bad habits and making good ones. People often say consistency is what makes some people succeed and others fail. While it's easy to feel excited when starting something new, the real challenge is keeping that feeling going over time. Breaking a bad habit isn't a one-time thing. It's a process that needs effort and never giving up, every single day. If you want real change, you must promise to show up, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. When you start working on a bad habit, it's normal to feel happy and motivated at first. You might even see quick improvements. But soon, the newness wears off. This is where most people tend to quit. The first few days or weeks are often the easiest, but it's staying consistent over a long time that truly changes things. When you commit to something, you're basically agreeing to put in the work day after day, no matter how you feel or what problems pop up. Consistency is so important because habits are deeply set in your daily life. Over time, they become automatic ways of reacting to certain things. To break these habits, you need to replace them with new behaviors that also become automatic. This takes time and repeating the action. Just like you didn't get your bad habits overnight, you won't get rid of them overnight either. It's a slow process, and consistency makes sure you keep strengthening the new behavior until it becomes natural. Consistency helps create new paths in your brain. When you consistently choose a new behavior instead of the old one, you're actually rewiring your brain. The more you practice the new behavior, the stronger the link becomes between what you do and what you want to happen. Eventually, the new behavior becomes your automatic choice, just like the old habit was. But for this to happen, you need to show up for yourself every day, even when you don't feel like it. This doesn't mean every day will be perfect, but it does mean you should try to stay on track, even if progress feels slow. Another reason consistency is important is that it builds discipline. Discipline is the ability to stick to a plan even when things are hard or tempting. It's easy to make excuses or give up when things get tough, but it's in these moments that discipline is needed. By being consistent with your efforts, you train yourself to get over problems and push through discomfort. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's what helps you stick to your goals when the first excitement is gone and changing feels overwhelming. It's important to understand that consistency doesn't mean being perfect. There will be days when you mess up, and that's okay. The key is to not let one mistake ruin all your progress. Instead of letting one slip-up make you feel like a failure, see it as part of learning. Consistency doesn't mean you won't face problems, but it does mean you will keep going despite them. It's about showing up day after day, even when it feels hard or discouraging. What matters is that you keep taking steps in the right direction, no matter how small they seem. Sometimes the road to breaking a bad habit can feel long and tiring. The excitement of change can fade, and the comfort of your old habits might start to tempt you. This is when consistency truly shines. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started in the first place. Remember your goals and why you want to change. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress, even when that progress feels slow. With each small step, you're getting closer to your goal. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to create a set routine for your new habit. Having a clear plan and a schedule makes it easier to stick to your goals. Whether it's setting specific time each day for your new behavior or breaking your goal into smaller tasks, a routine helps keep you on track. When you make your new habit a fixed part of your day, it becomes harder to avoid. A routine helps remove the need to decide, which can often stop you from being consistent. By not needing to decide whether or not to do the new behavior, you're making it easier to be consistent. You can also track your progress to stay motivated. Seeing how far you've come can be a strong reason to keep trying. Whether it's writing in a journal, marking days on a calendar, or using a habit tracking app, tracking your progress helps you stay responsible to yourself. It's easy to lose sight of how much you've done when you're in the middle of a long journey. But tracking your success can help you see how far you've come. It can remind you of the good changes you're making, even when it feels like you're not moving forward quickly. Consistency is the foundation of lasting change. It needs effort, discipline, and not giving up. But it is through consistency that you will replace your bad habits with good ones. By promising to show up every day and staying focused on your goals, you set yourself up for success. Breaking a bad habit is not a quick dash, it's a long race. The more consistent you are, the closer you will get to the person you want to be. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. Every day you stay consistent, you're one step closer to a better, healthier version of yourself. Replacing bad habits with good alternatives is one of the best ways to get rid of harmful patterns. It's not enough to just stop doing something bad. You need to actively swap that old behavior with a new, healthier one. This might feel hard at first, but with the right way of thinking and approach, it becomes a rewarding journey of growth. The main idea is to pick a new habit that fits the changes you want to make in your life and fully commit to it. The first step in replacing a bad habit is to decide what new habit you want to start. This is about setting a clear intention. You need to be sure about what you want to do instead of your bad habit. For example, if you scroll mindlessly on social media for hours, you might decide to read a book, exercise, or practice mindfulness instead. The important thing is to choose something that matches your goals and what you value. When you replace a bad habit with something that brings you closer to what you want, you not only break the old cycle but also build a stronger future for yourself. Once you've chosen your new habit, the next step is to make it a regular part of your day. This needs you to be consistent and disciplined. It's easy to go back to old habits, especially when the new one feels strange or uncomfortable. But the more you do your new habit, the easier it becomes. At first, it might feel weird or even forced, but that's totally normal. Like learning any new skill, forming a new habit takes time and practice. Eventually, it becomes second nature, and you'll do the new behavior without even thinking. Another important part of replacing bad habits is creating reminders that push you to do your new behavior. Habits are often linked to specific triggers, things around you that make you act. For example, if you're trying to quit smoking, you might notice you tend to light up a cigarette when stressed or after a meal. By spotting these triggers, you can create new ones that make you do your new, healthier habit. Maybe instead of reaching for a cigarette when stressed, you take a deep breath, go for a walk, or do some stretches. By connecting your new behavior to the same triggers that used to lead to the old habit, you can retrain your brain and make the new habit stick. It's also important to track your progress and celebrate small wins along the way. Change doesn't happen overnight, and it's easy to get discouraged if you don't see instant results. But every step you take towards replacing your bad habit is a success. Keeping track of your progress, whether by writing things down, setting small goals, or using a habit tracking app, can help you stay motivated and committed to the new behavior. Remember that even small improvements are a sign of progress, and take time to acknowledge your efforts. This helps build momentum and encourages you to keep going even when things get tough. Help from others can also play a big part in helping you replace habits. Whether it's friends, family, or a mentor, having people who encourage you and hold you responsible can make a huge difference. When you share your goals with others, they can cheer you on, check in on your progress, and help you stay on track. Sometimes just knowing that someone else believes in you can give you the strength to keep going, even when you want to go back to old ways. You don't have to do it alone, and asking for help shows strength, not weakness. One of the biggest challenges in replacing bad habits is dealing with setbacks. It's important to remember that setbacks are a natural part of the process and don't mean you failed. Breaking old patterns and creating new ones takes time, and there will be moments when you slip up or go back to your old ways. What matters is how you react to these setbacks. Instead of giving up, see setbacks as chances to learn. Think about what caused the setback and use it to change your plan. With each setback, you learn more about yourself and get stronger in your resolve to keep moving forward. Replacing bad habits also needs a change in your thinking. It's not just about stopping a behavior, it's about changing how you think and feel about the behavior itself. If you only focus on the bad parts of the old habit, you might feel like you're missing out or get frustrated. Instead, focus on the good things about your new habit. For example, if you're replacing junk food with healthy meals, focus on the energy and health you get from nourishing your body. By shifting your focus to the rewards of your new habit, you make it easier to stay committed and motivated. Ultimately, replacing bad habits is about taking control of your life and choosing to create a future that matches your values and goals. It's not always easy, but it is possible. With patience, persistence, and a clear idea of the person you want to become, you can replace your bad habits with healthier, more fulfilling behaviors that support your well-being and growth. The journey might be hard sometimes, but the rewards are worth it. The idea that change is possible, no matter how stuck a bad habit might seem, is one of the most powerful beliefs you can have. Often we feel trapped by our habits, especially the ones we've had for years. They become part of our daily life, shaping our routines and even how we see ourselves. However, just because a habit has been with you for a long time doesn't mean it's permanent. The truth is, you can always change. But it starts with believing that you can make that change. Understanding that change is possible means knowing that you control your life and what you do. It's easy to feel helpless when faced with bad habits, especially old ones. But power lies not in the habit itself, but in your choice to take charge of breaking it. The moment you decide to own your habits is when you start taking back control. This is where real change begins. When you see that you are not tied down by your past actions or old habits, you realize you can always grow and change. One of the most important things for change to happen is understanding that it takes time. Habits are built over time, and they won't disappear overnight. Change needs patience, persistence, and being willing to go through the process. When you start to break a bad habit, it's important to be kind to yourself and be realistic about the problems that will come up. There will be mistakes, and there will be times you feel like giving up. But this is part of the process. Progress is rarely a straight line. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The key is to keep moving forward, no matter how slow or hard it seems. Each day is a new chance to make a different choice. And each small change adds up over time to create lasting transformation. It's also important to remember that change isn't a one-time event. It's a journey. As you work on breaking bad habits, you might find yourself slipping back into old ways. This can be discouraging, but it's a normal part of the process. Changing habits means retraining your mind, and your brain often goes back to old ways when stressed or uncomfortable. The key is not to get discouraged by setbacks, but to see them as chances to learn. When you slip up, instead of giving up, take a moment to think about what caused it. Did something trigger the behavior? Were you feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Understanding why you slip up helps you adjust your plan and build strength. Another vital part of making change possible is the support you surround yourself with. Change isn't something you have to do alone. In fact, it's often easier to break bad habits when you have people helping you. Whether it's friends, family, or a mentor, having people who encourage you and hold you responsible can make all the difference. They can give advice, share their own experiences, and remind you that you're not alone. Sometimes, just knowing that someone else believes you can change is enough to keep you going when you feel like quitting. Believing that change is possible also means changing your mindset from feeling defeated to seeing opportunities. Instead of focusing on how hard it is to break a bad habit, focus on the good things that will come from changing. What will your life be like when you're free from the habit? How will it improve your relationships, your health, your work, or your happiness? Keeping the final goal in mind can give you motivation during tough times. By focusing on the good results, you can keep your momentum and remind yourself why the change is worth it. In the process of breaking bad habits, it's crucial to replace them with healthier things. It's not enough to just stop doing something bad. You need to actively do a new behavior that fits the person you want to become. For example, if you're trying to stop putting things off, replace it with a routine of managing your time and being accountable. If you're working on stopping negative self-talk, try using positive affirmations or practicing gratitude. By moving your focus to positive actions, you make it easier to break free from the bad habits that have held you back. Finally, believing that change is possible is the basis for breaking bad habits. It needs patience, persistence, and a new way of thinking. But with time and effort, it is always possible. When you believe in your ability to change, you open the door to transformation. You take control of your life and choose the path of growth. And from there, anything is possible. When it comes to breaking bad habits, having supportive people around you can make all the difference. Change is hard, and doing it alone can feel too much. The journey of changing yourself becomes much easier and more possible when you have people who encourage, support, and hold you accountable. People often don't see how powerful a strong support system is. But the truth is, the right people can help keep you motivated, give advice, and give you a needed boost when things get tough. The first way supportive people help is by cheering you on. Breaking a bad habit can feel lonely sometimes, especially if you're the only one in your group trying to make a positive change. In these moments, hearing a kind word or a reminder that you're on the right path can keep you going. Supportive people remind you that what you're doing is valuable, and that even if progress feels slow, it's still progress. Their words act like a shield against self-doubt, helping you stay strong. Whether it's a friend who checks on your progress or a family member who praises your efforts, these acts,